Welcome back to another Gray Zone Warfare video. I'm your host, the Dirty Rat, the Monotone King, and this is going to be 9 tips to make you more average at Gray Zone Warfare. These tips are designed to give you a better understanding of some of the new systems that have came to Gray Zone Warfare and hopefully help you be a better player overall. With that being said, let's jump straight into the video and check out these 9 tips. All right, for a 1 tip here with the Winds of War update, when it comes to rain, as you can see, I'm currently in a heavy rain at the moment. You can see the raindrops hitting on my POV, like basically on my character's face. So one thing that they've done here is by adding the rain elements in, you can help block some of this rain depending on what you wear. So if you see, if I throw on a boonie cap, the rain itself kind of lessens on my screen. If you add in glasses, it becomes even more less. So depending on what you're wearing could help reduce the visual impairment from the heavy rain. I removed the glasses and put on the M-Frame C glasses. That as well helps. Take out the boonie cap. The rain reappears a little bit. Throw on the baseball cap. The rain's still hitting because it's not full covered. But even if you swap it out for a helmet and you're wearing glasses, even the helmet itself helps a little bit. You still get some rain there. But the overall best effect for a heavy rain is going to be the boonie cap with a set of glasses. That helps reduce it the most that I found currently. But that's a good tip to know. That way when you're going out for, on a task or whatever, you can help address the rain. Okay, so the next tip here is going to have to do with night vision. So a lot of people don't understand the goal that Gray Zone or Madfinger Games is going with on night vision. They are trying to make it as realistic as possible here. So having things like a rifle with a scope on it, that like a zoom scope, or 1 or 4x scope or a 6x scope, something like that, and looking down the scope through your night vision, you're not going to be able to see anything. That is a realistic thing that they're going for there. So in order to counteract that, it's best if you're going through nighttime missions to either not wear night vision and use flashlights, or if you're gonna wear night vision, because if someone's using flashlights, you would have the advantage with night vision because you'll see them long before they see you. Use a tactical laser. There are different types of lasers. Some can be seen with or without night vision, and some can be seen only with night vision, like an IR laser. So with this MP7 here, just to show you, rain and stuff does affect your night vision. It does get raindrops all over it. But when you turn on your laser, you have that there, and I'm using an infrared laser here because you can see without night vision I can't see it, but with night vision down it's there. So when you go to ADS, that'll kind of give you a pointer, but you also have the canted ADS as well that you can use to have more of a clear picture when you're looking through your night vision. So that's another tip there that some people don't think about or not aware of as well when it comes to night vision and lasers. Night vision and lasers in this game. So yeah, so that's a tip for night vision. All right, your next tip here is going to have to do with how to read the map, and also to show you all a little something. They have recolored the map a little bit. I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but some of these colors have changed. So when it comes to reading the map, you're going to have different points of interest now that are called cops, or the capture points that everyone's been talking about, and all of the content creators like myself have been fighting over with the early access playtest. So any that are blue are going to be owned by your faction, of course. Any that are red are going to be owned by one of the 2 enemy factions. So in this case, these are all around Lemang. So these are all red, and red. And then we got blue ones down here. So that just shows that my faction is currently going through the map trying to take over some of these points of interest. Now, you do have to find 2 of the major ones in order to see the new vendor Vulture. And I can tell you from experience, he does appear at Titan as one of those. So I do know he will appear there, but I believe, and I'm not 100% on this, but I do believe he rotates back and forth between this one and one other one. Now, also to go with reading the map, you hear this guy talking super loud into my ear. You look on the map, you'll see red circles. These red circles are PMC conflict zones. So this just states that there's 2 different factions fighting in that area. As you can see by looking at this, my faction is currently going through to Spielberg here, or Spielberg, and trying to take it over. So these 4 guys right here are fighting their way through. So they've engaged the AI there or another enemy faction. So those circles are lighting up. And those go, that's 100 meter radius for those circles. The next part of this map tips is going to be mortars. So at the top of your map here, you have the overview, which shows everything. You can see only combat outpost, landing zones, and then you have your mortar map, which shows everything with a mortar radius. So there's 3 different types of mortars. There's going to be a mortar that's considered low range, a mortar that's medium range, and a mortar that's high range. So only low range and medium range can be purchased from the vendor, and Gunny does sell those at max level. So I think you can get the low range at like level 3, I believe. We're just going to check that real quick. So we're going to go Gunny, find the mortars. They're right here in magazines and ammo. Let's take out 4. Okay, so level 3 Gunny has medium and low. Level 2 Gunny, you get low range mortars. Level 3 you would get medium range, and level 4 you don't get anything extra. So the far range or long range mortars are currently at this time only found in raid, I guess is the best way of saying it. So they're found out and about in chest, high value loot areas. So basically, to use the mortars, in this case I only have low range left in my stash, so I can only shoot within the first circle. So low, medium, long. So within this first circle, if I wanted to drop a mortar, I would right click, would go to mortar support.
Attention, Wildcat is no longer under our control.
I would then select the mortar, and it puts an icon.
Stand by for rounds out.
Puts an icon on the map and tells you how long till impact. So if your faction is shooting mortars, you will see this icon. If the enemy faction is shooting mortars, you will not see this icon. And then the next tip I'm going to have for you is if you go down when you're out in sector and no one's able to bring you up from a coma, and then you basically die, right? You can spawn back here at your main base, all right? Or you could also spawn at one of your closest cops or control points that your faction owns that is not under conflict. Okay, that's a big key indicator there. During the playtest, people were able to spawn even if it was under conflict, but that's being changed with the patch when Winds of War comes out. So this video is going to be getting released as well when Winds of War comes out, so that at the time of this video that should already be a changed effect. The next tip that I can give you is going to have to do with the strike missions. So on your map, strike missions are going to be these blue circles with the letter S on them. So the letter S on them, they look like kind of like thumbtacks or like code pinpoints on the map. You basically left click on one, it pops up on the right side here. You have to be in a squad in order to start these missions, and only the squad leader can start the mission and turn the mission in. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up as a tip, you need to read what's on the map. So when you open this up and click on it, what all this is, you need to read this to figure out what you got to do for the objectives. They are time based. In this scenario, this one would give you an hour to complete it in Midnight Sapphire, but some of the others, like here at the airfield, you only get 45 minutes. So if you keep that in mind, make sure you read it, you'll be good to go. And then your next tip is going to have to do with high value loot. There is a change with Winds of War where, depending on what kind of loot it is, high value wise, depending on what vendor you're trying to sell that high value loot item to, so like the whiskey, the watches, the cameras, things like that, that vendor could pay you less or it could pay you more. So you need to pay attention when you're going to sell high value loot. If you're just strictly after money, then you need to pay attention to who you're selling it to, so you can get the max, the most bang for your buck when you go to sell it to that vendor. If you're just trying to raise your vendor rep, then sell it to whomever you like. I did notice when I was looking at it, it didn't really seem like it was that big of a difference. So if you're just chasing vendor rep, it probably isn't enough to make you go, well, then I need to sell it to Lab Rat instead of Handshake, right? So yeah, but you can get different values out of that. So just pay attention to that too, depending on what your goal is there. All right, and the next tip is going to have to do with trackers. As you all heard, trackers are now a thing in Gray Zone, to where you could track your gear. So when you die out and about, whether it's from an enemy PMC or AI or whatever, if you're having trouble trying to get to your body, you can have a tracker on it so you can get back to your gear easily. In the PvP side of things, trackers can be used to track down enemy PMCs that took your gun or your body armor or your backpack. Pay attention to that. So to apply a tracker, there's 3 different types right now, and each of them have different links for how long they last. So the basic tracking tag is known as a BT tag, which stands for basic tracking tag. There is an AT tag, and then there's a TT tag. I'm going to set this up alphabetically. So you're going to have the A for advanced, you're going to have the B for basic, and then the T for tracking tag. Okay. So the advanced tracking tag, starting here on the left side, states that an advanced tracking tag that allows the owner to monitor their property's location for an extended period of time. The basic tracking tag is a tracking tag that allows the owner to monitor their property's location for a short amount of time. And then the tracking tag is a tracking tag that allows the owner to monitor their property's location for a moderate amount of time. So based on time length and how long it'll track that piece of gear, the order you would want is going to actually be advanced tracking tag, and then basic tracking tag. Okay. So that's your 3 tags, advanced being the best one, tracking tag being the second best, and basic being the worst out of the 3. If you wanted to apply a tracking tag, all you're going to do is right click on your weapon. You're going to go to add tracking tag, and you're just going to select whatever tag you want, and then it's going to have the tag on there. So in this scenario on the MP7, I'm just going to go ahead and press the tracking, or I'm going to press the B tag button. An orange icon will appear on my weapon right here. So now if I take the weapon, we're just going to throw it down right here inside the fob. I'm going to run away from it a little bit back towards the main gate. All right, I'm going to zoom in on the map. You're going to see the tracking tag right here showing my weapons over here. Now on the map, it looks like it's outside of the gate, but we know it's not. So it brings you pretty close to where your stuff should be. And then we just got to sit here and figure out where I dropped my MP7. And of course, I dropped it in the worst spot possible, but we found it. There we go. And then for your gear, it's the same thing. Right click on your vest, add a tag. Your backpack, right click on it, add a tag. Your belt, you can track. Your headphones, you can track. Your helmet, you can track. Your glasses, you can track. Your face mask, you can track. Your pistols, you can track.
Rival contractors exchanging fire. Standing by.
All right, and the next thing here is going to be repairing your weapons and your gear. So if you wanted to repair weapons or gear, there are now repair kits out. There's gear repair kits, firearm repair kits, and weapon cleaning kits out. You're just going to right click on it. You're going to click repair, and then you're going to select what pieces you want repaired. And then you're going to select what you're going to use to repair it. In this case, it's a firearm tool set that I have 9 out of 1,000 left on it. So I would just click that and it would repair the weapon up to, in this case, from 99.7% back to 99.9. So the repair kits themselves give you the, and I believe if I'm thinking correctly here, they give you the least amount of repair total on the item. To get the best amount of repair, you would need to have the vendor repair your gear. And to have the vendor repair your gear, what you're going to need to do is take the item off of you, put it into your stash. So in this case, I'm going to use this MCX right here. When you're on the vendor screen for that weapon, so in this case, Gunny, we're going to right click it. We're going to hit repair. And instead of only getting the firearm tool set, I can now hit it and I have a standard repair, which will cost me $156. And it takes 1 hour and 6 minutes. Okay, that's real time. And then you have an express repair, which is only going to be 2 minutes. It's going to cost me $300. Okay. So keep that in mind as well. So as long as it's in your stash, you can do that with the repairs. If it's on your body, you're only going to be able to get the firearm kit. So you got to pull it off your stash, be on the vendor screen, or just be on your stash itself, hit the repair. Select what you want to use and then hit repair, and then you're good to go. So in this case, this has got 25 out of 100 firearm tool set. Let's say bring it back to 99.3. I feel like that's pretty good. I would just click it. Now my weapon's repaired. And then the next tip here is going to be turning in task. So remember that when you're out and about, okay, if you're out, you're doing a task, you complete that task, you no longer have to come all the way back here to the main base to turn in that task. Only reason you have to fly all the way back to the main base is if it is a item turn in, such as having to get like a laptop or something like that and bring it back to handshake. You would have to come back to the base for that, or you would go to one of the cops or the points of interest, these capturable spots, and turn it in there, because you can access the vendors from those areas. All right, so that should do it for this tip video. These tips are designed to help you be more average at Gray Zone Warfare with the Winds of War update. I hope to see you in the jungle, and if you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitch, follow me on TikTok, whatever you prefer. I'll see you in the next video and in the jungle.